Okay, so this is going to be for how we handle pop and tea, be it on a monthly basis or not. So first things first is always remembering that as you see data coming into the account under the banking tab, um, that these Bank of America ones right here are in fact going to do from Clover and making sure they get sent there first. Then the next thing that I'd like us to do, I'm going to try to get hopefully the boys to sync to pay for this, which I think would make the job a little bit easier. For in the meantime, though, for us, here's how it's going to work. So first things, I'm going to come into Clover sales overview, and I'm going to enter the month of December. And what I'm doing is I'm going to select this date range. I'm going to select December 1st to December the 30th. Now, why not the 31st? Because you're going to find out why in just a second. So I want to go just one day before the end of the month, 12 a.m. to 11:59. I'm going to print this guy out as well. So now we're going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to print, AKA save this out as a PDF. A folder I've called Clover Sales. We might want to do this for each year is fine by me, or maybe each month or whatever. But here we're going to date this 10/01, December 12/01/2020 to 12/30/2020. So this will become part of our work papers. I'm going to go ahead and do a new journal entry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bring that document that I just saved, and I want to start utilizing QuickBooks to capture some of this data work, the paperwork. So I'm going to pop 2021. Did I say that? No, I didn't do that. 2020. There we go. Clover worksheets. There we go. Go all the way down to 12. Here we are. I'm going to drag this guy over. I'm going to stick it here under the attachments. And again, I don't know if you can see this very well, so I'll blow this up if we can. Blow this up a little bit as well. And so now I'm going to just follow essentially this here. I'm making sure to change this. Make sure you update your initials and then have your adjusting journal entry number going. So 12/1. So I'm going to put here sales, right, of product. And I'm going to just put down 14,776.96. I'm going to say December 1st to December 29. And I'm going to go through discounts. So if you see a negative number over here, then think of it as a debit. If you see it as a black, look at it as a credit, this top part right here. All right, so discounts are 317.76. We have refunds. By the way, if you see a line item that says repayments, I'm moving it to over and short. That's the account we're going to use. We don't have any here today. But again, if it's a negative, it's a debit. If it's a positive, it's a credit. So refunds right here are for 92 cents. Non-revenue and gift card activations is going to be considered an unearned gift card. And again, credit 137, it says black. And we're going to go with sales tax due 124837. And then I'm going to go with tips payable of 1,117.37. And then I'm going to scroll down, and you see here it says unpaid balance. So I'm going to actually call that an over shortage. Again, 1666 because it's black. And then down here under the tender types, so gift cards right here. So right here, I'm going to, because it's, so now we're going to flip this around, and everything that we see um, here, if this is a black right here, then it's going to be a debit. So that's going to be the journal entry we're going to make. So, and I'm also looking at this column where it says amount collected. So gift cards, it's unearned. It's a debit of $12.98. And then cash on hand, which happens to be 2024739. And then what I do is I scroll down and I double check this here for the due from Clover. 14717 $14,683.99 versus $14,683.99. What's the difference? $33.32, which is kind of strange that that would be the case. But so we're gonna make this $14,683.99, and I'm going to be short over or short again, $33.32. I'm also going to make sure that I put the word Clover under the name as well. And the reason for that is because when we look at the over shortage report, we want to make sure that we're attributing this correctly. That 1662, that's interesting. That's interesting. This number equals that number times 2. So not sure why that is, but the net effect is still the same. Okay, so we'll save in new. All right, now I'm going to go to the 31st. Journal entry number 2. We're going to print this guy out. And we'll clear all that out. And same thing, I'm going to date this December 31st. I'm going to go with my sales. $498.87. I make sure you pick a note here, December 30th. It's important that we do put the description in there. I forgot to put that in the last one. I forgot to date it December 1st to the 29th, but this one we'll put, we'll put this December 31st. There we go. So discounts, do we have any? We do, $951. And no refunds, no revenue. Oh, unearned gift card of $40. And then we've got some taxes, 4209. And then we have some tips of $26.50. And then down at the bottom, we've got some cash coming in, $54.20. And then we will have a due from Clover, $543.75, $543.75, save and new. Okay. Now, the next thing that I do is I come in here, I'm going to go to reports, and I'm going to pull up the balance sheet, and I'm going to click on the due from Clover's tab right here. And the last one I did was in November. So we're going to just double check it. So you can just see. So I run the report based on the month that I'm working under. Okay. And you can see there's a journal entry. I'm also looking for any other deposits that don't look correct here, like coming from Uber Eats or any of the other ones. I'm making sure this is strictly going to be a Clover deal. Here's the last one, November 30th. Now, here's what we know to be true about Clover so far, is this deposit will come in the following month, which means that if I'm overstated here, it's a combination of being short or over or potentially bank fees. So what we do is we come here to deposits and we click on this. And I'm going to date this for the month of November. And it says how much I paid in fees or how much adjustments we had. So I'm going to scroll all the way down and I'm looking for right here. You see where it says November 2nd? And it says that we should have received $841.41, which is, of course, not this. In fact, that number right there clears out right here. You can see that. Clears. We're good. So this ending one says they gave him $101.97. And we saw that right here. There it is, 101.97. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually change this due from Clover amount to the amount that was submitted. So this will be 841.41. And down here where it says receipt from, we're going to put Clover. And this is going to be the bank credit card discounts. And it's going to be essentially that 739.44 as a negative. Still brings us to 101.97. All is good. Saving you, yes. And we'll go ahead and print this guy out as evidence. And we're good to go. So now we'll go back to here, back to the statement for November. And if you notice, we have a negative number right here, $222 and some change. Not sure why that is. We would have to comb through this on a day-to-day transaction rate basis. But I figured out that Clover is somehow or another, there's some shortages happening. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the shortage account and see if we can't tie it out there as well. So for right now, I've got a balance problem. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to print this out. I'm actually going to paper print this. So I'm actually going to print this out as a paper. And what essentially I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, okay, well, I know I need to get up to $356.24. So in order to get there, I'm going to take the 22278 and I'm going to add that plus the 356.24. So what I mean by that is you have 222.78 negative, right? I need to bring that to 0. And I also need to bring in an extra $356.24. So the total is actually 356.24 plus 222.78. So 579.02 is what we actually have to bring. So what I'm doing is I'm going to use my Z tape. I'm going to utilize my Z tape and create a journal entry. Now, interestingly enough, in the month of October, there was a shortage of $579.02, which ironically enough is now, we're seeing this again over here on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and make my journal entry accordingly. So I'm using a Z tape, and I'm going to scan my journal entries and save them as a PDF as part of my work papers. If you don't notice, what I'm doing now is I printed it out. Okay. And here is the, I don't know why that's not showing up very well, but that's strange that shows up not very clear. Anyways, so you can see you can barely make it out, but it's going to be that 579 number. All right. And I'm also going to indicate the journal entry number that we're going to be using. So when I create a new journal entry, I'm gonna indicate on my work paper the journal entry number, which happens to be the JB263. And again, we want to do that because we want to track what journal entries are responsible for what. And quite honestly, when you're working on a review in anybody's books and you're making journal entries, or you've got work papers to get your numbers to where you're going, it's always important that you print out your work papers and save them. And eventually what you're going to end up with is something like this, where you've got a whole entire bunch of paperwork. And at each one, you can see where we're basically indicating the journal entry number that we used, so that when whoever looks at this document, the final product, they know what your logic was, or they know what your thinking was. So this one with us for November. We're going to date this November the 30th. And in this case, remember, you're not seeing the screen. So let me go back to it. So I'm going to go back here and we're now entering the shortage issue. So I need to increase my due from Clover, which means it's a debit of 579.02. And here I put over short Clover. And then here I'm going to put in the over short and a same thing from Clover. And we should see that now kind of like tying out. So we'll see that zeroing out hopefully. All right, so I just did December. I showed you that journal entry right here. So we just did that. So once again, I'll come back here. I already dated it, 12/1/12/1. Again, I'm looking in the due from Clover section. And again, I'm going to come here to deposits. I'm going to look for the month of December. I'm looking for this journal entry here. Now, this is fascinating because that 225.25 actually shows up as an expense in the bank feed, and in fact was classified as bank fees originally. So what I did is I went in here and I essentially did a search for this balance right here, and when I found it, it actually looks just like that. You see where it says 225, where it says 225, 221.25, right? So what I need to do, and in fact, it's showing up as an expense. The payee is not Bank of America, it's Clover. And um, what I'm going to do here is this is actually the bank fees, and it is for um, $645.70. And the difference, the due from Clover, it's going to be a negative number, and it's 424.45. And the net number between these two should equal 221.25 right here. And that's what we want. And if I want to, which I highly recommend, is that we actually document this. So I grab it, not that I save it to the work papers, but I'm actually going to attach it here to the actual journal, the actual transaction report. And this will help us again. You know, we got to pull it up for whatever reason in the future. So now we have it listed. Um, and lo and behold, 543 ties out. All is good. And I don't need to do anything here. This is completely good. Now, here's what I would do. Again, because I'm the one who's processing it and I know it's going to go to somebody to review my work. So I'm going to go ahead and print this out anyways. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write on that document that it ties out. 0 to 0 looks good. I'm going to scan all of my journal entries and then have those ready as part of my work papers. So that's how we handle the due from due issue of Clover. Now, um, one other thought is we could use the reconciliation report process to do this now. So, in a way, if we were to reconcile this like a traditional bank account, we could come in here into the reconciliation and we could pull up the due from Clover. And what we could do is say that the ending balance, well, we know the ending balance is the deposit that is due to us based on the last month's report that we did, right? So we know that we can come here and we can pull up the last day, the 31st, because that's going to be due in the bank account. And we know that we should be collecting um, we should be collecting 543.75. We know this is the balance that is outstanding. So we could also use this as a reconciliation report. We would put 12/31/2020. Now, mind you, this has never been reconciled, so we're about to find out what this looks like. And you can see all of the various rigmarole here. But ideally, what would happen is it would show up hopefully as a $0 balance, just like that, zero balance. Because what you could be doing is, in essence, you're looking here at the deposits. You could look again at the prior months deposits. And if you were going to do this on a deposit by deposit basis, or if you were going to look at this again like a bank account, you would go through here and you would check these guys off. Check, check, check. That's this over here. And if we were doing this on a daily basis, you'd see the daily deposits being put in, which would also be this as well. So anyway, I can go ahead and confidently finish that out. I could attach the statement, I suppose. And what we can do, this is looks like a new feature. It's kind of cool. Is I can just come over here, drop these guys in here. And I think it attaches them both perfect. And now I'm good. I can review this report. I can actually print this report out, right? It's going to be part of our larger and greater work papers that we are going to finalize. So that's it for now. That's how we're going to deal with the due from Clovers for now.